see myself being a drummer like Animal.
They used to call me Shaneable. That's
Oh,
actually
really?
yeah. That's
Dude, you
exactly
should do
funny.
that. You should do the drums live one night.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
anyways, it's Wednesday night.
it
Green
is
Day's fine.
Wednesday. It's
Yeah,
literally, well, is this the last Wednesday before the No Name Nationals? Are we leaving next Wednesday?
yeah. We're leaving. I'm going to be at this time. I'm going to be at the No Name Nationals. I'll be there on the grounds. Maybe we'll do a live from the grounds. We've been saying that for 3 years, 4 years.
Well,
We might
one, the reception sucks there.
Yeah.
For cell phones. So maybe we'll I don't know. Let's have dinner and do live from Lambert's or something.
Well, we're going to be at Lambert's on Thursday.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe we can go somewhere else and just do it live.
No, there's that Mexican restaurant down the street.
Oh, we can do that. You want to do some El Guapo tacos?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, it's not a good place. It's not a bad Mexican restaurant. It's a pretty good place.
No, that place is awesome. Yeah, I say let's do that.
Okay. Well, maybe we can do that and answer some questions while eating some nachos or something.
Right. See us stuffing our faces, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's see. We got quite the roll call of tonight. Unfinished project was here at 1:09 p.m. 38 Racing, KS Skyhawk, Bruce Coltgen. What's going on tonight? Frizzell Racing, Fab Race Mod Repeat, Buff Del Campo Slant Daily Garage. What's up, suckers? Let's see. Danny Boyd, Clayton's Toolbox, 6th Street Garage, Mexican Spec Mama M3, Michael Schmidt, Michael Robert Embry. Let's see. Buick Smith is here. Kerosene and Cucumbers. John Murphy, what's up? Kick this pig already. Right. We're making her squeal now.
Right.
Yeah. Danny Boyd is here. Hot Rod Guy Garage. Hello, folks. Lout Burns, greetings to all you usual suspects. So, yeah.
Yeah, we got one in the queue already. Look at that.
Man, awesome. This doesn't happen often. Well, it used to happen often, but not so much anymore. Levi's Backyard Performance is here. Hey, congratulations, Levi. I heard you had a barn burner up at LS Fest. Oh, and speaking of LS Fest, before we get to this question, yes, I was supposed to be there Saturday. Yes, I did drive there. Yes, I stood in line. Yes, I waited for over an hour at the gate, and they had electronic tickets, and their internet was down, and it was not my ticket. My cousin won them, and so he invited me to go along. And when I went up there, the ticket wasn't in my name, and then they had no internet. They couldn't check anything or call anybody or verify. So I just had to stand at the gate for over an hour for someone to tell me that they didn't think my ticket was legit. So I reluctantly went home. Just to say, we don't treat people like that at No Name Nationals. Okay. Yeah, Clint Street Machines is in here. Inside some Garage, Iceman, 2K10, and then Twisted Mopar Garage is sliding right in the door.
Wow.
So, question numero uno.
Yeah. It's Professor, I saw your short on push rods. Rocker shafts looked like there was a tube inside it on the end. Was it for extra strength? SBB, I'm saying small block Buick probably, has problem on one shaft end. Would adding rod is help?
Probably inside.
Oh, rod inside. Okay, so it's funny. I was just showing Dallas. I was really proud of this because I was really stressed on making these. Whenever they make push rods.
He's talking about the rocker shaft.
Oh, he's talking about the rocker shaft. I saw your short on push rod. Rocker shaft looked like is a tube inside. No, they're just a hollow shaft. There's no.
Yeah, so what he's getting at is the small block Buick. It has two rockers that dangle off the end after the stand. They just kind of like hung out there in space, right?
Like Ford FE. Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is when you get too high a spring pressure or too many RPM, that shaft weakens. It work hardens along where the bolt holes are at to hold it down, and they break off.
Yeah, That's just a plug. Okay, so now I'm looking at it right over here. That's actually just a plug, and that's just a freeze plug for oil. That's what it is. And it's just a hardened shaft. I think they're 11/16, and I think they're like 1/8 of an inch thick, or maybe I think they're about an inch of an eighth. Yeah, 1/8 of an inch thick, I would say.
What he's asking here, he's asking if you put a shaft on the inside to make it any stronger. So I'll answer this for you based off what I know. Shane and I worked on my small block Buick rocker arm concept for a while, and I have the same problem as everybody else with the rocker arms that just dangle out in space. What I did was I bought the updated thick shafts from TA Performance that would probably technically make it stronger, but it still has that weak point where the bolt holes are going to be kind of what's limiting factor there. But also, there was a trick I took out of the Mopar racer handbook. Was Mopar racers used to have a capture hold down at the top of the rocker arms. You could buy an aftermarket hold down. Like, I don't know if they were ever like stock like a Buick. The Buick just has a bolt through it, but with like a shoulder on it, right? But the Mopar racers have a whole entire capture clamp that you bolt down on there and you torque it to spec, and it holds the shaft. And I tried that out. So I have the same. They're made for a big block Buick, but I used them on a small block, and then I put studs in them.
Okay. Yeah, on a Mopar, there's a bolt on the end, so there's really none hanging out in space. But yeah, I guess you could put a shaft down there, but you want to have it rigid but flexible at the same time. So, because if it's too rigid with all those harmonics, it could crack if it's too hard.
And that's what I was kind of wondering. Because see, all right, you know how I fixed the problem? I got the thicker shafts, right? But at the end of the shaft, where it's normally like a freeze plug capped on there, so oil runs through the shaft and pressurizes the shaft, and then it comes out on the rockers.
Yep.
Instead of doing that, I used the later style shaft, and I oiled it through the push rod.
Okay.
Right. So it would feed the rockers from the push rod side instead of running from the shaft through the rocker down the push rod.
Got it.
Now, on the end, since I didn't have a freeze plug on the end, and my shafts were not made for the 67 through 69 rocker arms, I made a capture device on the end with a couple of big washers, and then I threaded the inside, and I ran some ARP bolts on the inside.
Okay. Yep.
And technically, it would be just like you said, where it would strengthen the shaft so much that the only flexible point is those bolt holes. So I don't know how that's going to work. I really don't. I don't know if there's a possibility of working well, but I do know since I threaded it and I put a 3/8 ARP bolt in the end, what I could do is I have some valve cover spacers now that, or they're not spacers. I got some valve cover adapters that I just bought. And if you're a small block Buick fan, there's a dude on eBay selling valve cover adapters to use Buick 215 to 340 valve covers on a 350 Buick. So I bought a set of those. But I was looking at them the other day, and I realized if I was to actually add a little support piece on the end of that and just support that rocker arm or just the rocker shaft, I don't think it would have to be like, it would probably have to be machined to make it fit well, but it would have a lot less flexibility having something holding it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll call that dude and see if I can get some made up, because then it'll make it like a rocker arm girdle, and then you just put a 300 valve cover on it or a 215 valve cover on it.
Because it's just a little taller. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clayton's Toolbox saying, I had a crank turned and there's a sharp edge on the oil holes. The ones I had turned in the past were nice bevel. Any issues running it? Yes. You don't want to have it sharp at all. You got to have a bevel, because a sharp edge is a smaller edge. Yeah, that's a smaller opening. You got to have a nice bevel, so that way it's not trying to make a turn that's a sharp edge. You want to have it roll in, just like, imagine a velocity stick the exact same way.
Well, you can do that yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, you could do it yourself.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what do they call that? Radius to oil holes? I don't remember what it's called. It's some kind of term for it.
Yeah, you can either chamfer them or or you could just radius the oil holes. You can use a stone, you can use a file, and then after you do that, make sure if you're going to use a file, only go in and don't pull it out, because then you'll put a burr that's sticking up. And then after you do that, you're going to need to polish it just to make sure that you don't. You don't have anything sticking up. And you could do this at home too with a shoestring, 1,000 grit sandpaper, and WD-40. I've polished many cranks at home with a big long shoestring, wrap it around a few times, and then turn it, back and forth, and you wrap it all the way around, and then move it back and forth. It works awesome. Yeah.
So those chamfering the oil holes is a racer's trick. Long time ago, they realized that when you didn't chamfer them, they didn't oil well.
No.
Because it has I can't remember what the oiling term, I think it's called laminar flow.
Yeah.
I think it's something like that, where it flows evenly out throughout the hole, instead of making this 90-degree turn, which it's not going to make very well. When you chamfer that oil hole, the laminar flow of the oil outward on the bearing is almost like probably 2 or 3 times as much oil.
Yeah, it basically just lays flat is what it does. That's what you're trying to do, is get a flat laminar flow. And then also too, on the feed, it's going in and coming out. So yeah, exactly. So
also, if you think about it, when you open that hole, because you're chamfering the hole, you're technically just making it a little bit bigger. It'll oil through that shaft sooner, right? And end later.
And later, exactly, because your timing now is bigger, and that's why a lot of people will actually chamfer the oil hole inward and the oil hole on the rod side outward, so that way you get an early entry and a late exit. So on the oil holes. So as far as how it's oiling to the rods. So yeah, it's a big trick, and it works really good. You can usually change it by up to about just a little bit. We'll change it almost 22 degrees on each side. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. And then the oiling is so much better, and it evens out oil pressure too.
I saw one right here. Go ahead and read this one real quick.
Okay, Professor P. I specifically came on here to ask you a question I can't seem to find the answer to. Why is the timing retarded toward higher RPM? Is it something to do with cylinder pressures?
Why is the timing retarded toward higher RPMs? It shouldn't be doing that. Is it doing it just...
I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh, maybe on his timing light, because I've had this when I wasn't running a crank trigger, and I would have like a distributor in there. As you're RPMing up and it's RPMing fast, it's all the slacks taken up. So, and then sometimes it will move around as it gets near the top. I don't know.
I've seen this before also, because there is a scientific name for it. When the chain has slack, let's just say it's not worn out, but it just has slack in it. When you buzz it up, it'll actually push a bunch of the chain up on the other side, the non-tension side, the upward force side. And there is a name for that. It's like a scientific name, like gravitational flow, because if you've ever taken a chain and pulled it out of a bucket, its own weight will cause it to run out of the bucket. The same things happen. Yeah, same thing's happening with your timing chain when it has just a bit of slack in it. And it'll do that same thing. But, it would technically retard your timing, because your distributor would actually slack up.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. I've actually seen it. And that's why when I started running nitrous on the car, I went to a crank trigger for that exact reason. And it's dead on. But yeah, I've actually seen that on my slant sixes quite a bit too.
You shouldn't be pulling timing though as the RPM goes up.
No,
that's not normal.
That's not normal. That's not what you want to do at all. Yeah, you want to have the RPM up because it's moving so fast. Retard it, you're going to start glowing your exhaust manifolds.
Yeah, and they say I can see that with nitrous or boost. This is the case, but only in those like cylinder or power adders because of the cylinder pressure. But as a naturally aspirated engine, you should never be doing that.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. John Murphy, my buddy was swapping heads on a race boat using parts from other heads. Valve stems were different heights on the intakes. Would that affect opening? Also, the exhausts were lower than the intakes. So am I reading this right? So he's just talking about where the rocker arm is meeting the valve. Is that what he's saying?
I think so. Yeah, it's got a different height on it for some reason.
Yeah. So what that's going to do is if this is a big block Chevrolet that's on a you can adjust that, with a stud, and also by just changing the push rods. I would just put a little Sharpie across it, run a pattern on it, and just see where it's hitting. But if it's a shaft mount system, you usually get into a little bit more trouble with that then, because they're all at the same height. But on a Chevrolet, where it's gone the ball style, it's usually pretty correctable.
So in the shaft style, the only way to really correct it is, okay, this is going to sound janky, okay, but
I've done it.
They have, all right. First off, one option is to regrind the valves to get the valve stem height the correct height.
Yep.
The other option is a thing called a lash cap. Okay. And if you can find a lash cap that has the correct thickness for what you need, you can bring it all up to level margin, right? But you never run a lash cap unless it's absolutely necessary. And you certainly don't want to run a lash cap with something that has, like, let's say it's only 10 thousandths thickness and it only sits on the valve stem by 20 thousandths. And then you have a solid flat tappet cam in there that has 18 thousandths of lash, 18 thousandths of lash. Because what will happen is that cap will actually have the opportunity to come out, because once it gets hot and everything expands, that 18 thousandths becomes 22 thousandths. The next thing you know, your lash cap's in the pan.
Yep.
So, but the lash cap does do a good thing. And generally guys don't run those unless they're running like really high spring pressures due to really high cylinder pressure, generally turbos or nitrous oxide or roots blower.
And they're usually running really fast ramp rates where they actually just start destroying the tips of the valves.
They crash the valve. Yeah,
crash the valves. Or if you got titanium valves, they'll just eat them up. Titanium doesn't like to rub on anything. Michael Schmidt's got one here. I love this one. Vintage Tech 12-volt coil with or without ballast resistor. What rating ballast resistor for what ohm coil? Any clue how to determine if they're in what ballast resistor is required? Thanks for the clarity. Look, man, here's what I do. Get rid of the ballast resistor as much as possible. And here's why. Look, I know Chrysler's around with them forever, but the longer you run a Chrysler, as long as you keep driving them, the ballast resistor is going to get hotter. It's going to create more resistance, and the spark's going to get weaker and weaker and weaker. And I've had that for years. And I went to just a 12-volt coil. I went to a Ford coil, and that's basically your standard MSD. I run a GM module, and I know it just like the HEI conversion. I get it, but I'm telling you, it works. It works amazingly well, and you can get those parts at any auto parts store across the country, and you don't have to run a ballast resistor anymore.
It doesn't have an electronic option, though.
What's that?
You still need an electronic distributor option to run the HEI coil. You can't run an HEI coil on a points distributor.
No, you can't run on a points coil. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he didn't say that, though. He didn't say points.
No, he didn't say that. I'm just assuming Michael Schmidt's the guy that always asks about the flathead Mopars, the 6-cylinder flathead.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Right.
Well, then go to Pertronics. Get a Pertronics in there. Get rid of the points.
Okay. When I did my super stock Buick, I got a dual point Mallory. It's the only time I've ever ran points, because I wanted a legit ignition system from back in the day when I was building the super stock motor. I went through like 75 Mopar ballast resistors, because they're all Shangwei Chinesium garbage, right? They would either have the wrong voltage, or the resistance was almost infinite, meaning it's open. And these were ones coming right out of the box from the parts store. What I ended up doing was I found a ballast resistor from, I think either Mallory or MSD on eBay. That was a new old stock piece. Yeah. And I put it on there and ran that. And it's worked good so far, but I mean, I haven't raced the car. I just put it on the start stand and ran it, and it ran. But if you're going to stick with that 12-volt coil, I mean, it only gets 12 volts. Generally, if you're talking vintage car stuff with points distributors, it only gets 12 volts at cranking. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is the key position changes from cranking to just run, and that will route 9 volts to it, via either a ballast resistor, like through a Mopar, or if it's a GM, it's a resistor wire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Ford did. Ford probably did ballast resistor. That seems to be like the easiest one.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what we do. Shane Smith's got one. Any benefit to drill the oil mains 930 seconds on 2, 3, and 4 on a 360 LA block and smooth out the pump area? Yes. In fact, even do number 1 and even do number 1 going up to the other side. I just did a whole video of stuff. If you go, I mean, if I don't know if we have any mods in here, but if you can please post one of my videos of the solid roller or the hydraulic. I literally go into depth on how to do this, but there's a massive benefit, especially on the number 4, because the number 4 is the first main where the oil is the highest velocity going across that, and it will literally skip right over that. So you're going to lose oil to the number 4 main, to the number 7 rod, and the number 6 rod, and then that's the one that feeds that when it goes down, it goes up to the cam there, and then it times and goes to the driver's side rockers. So you're not going to get any oil up there, and it starves from oil. And then by the time it gets to the number 1, the oil is still trying to flow and fill the whole driver's side lifter galley, and it's screaming through the number 1. Just by backfeeding, even if you just do one crossover where it goes from the stand up all the way to the other side, to the driver's side, and just backfill that. And then if you open all those to 930 seconds, you'll backfeed the oil just like you do on imagine like a EFI system, and there's a high volume EFI. They'll run it from one side and they'll also run it from the other side, so that way it evenly distributes. Because hydraulics, you can't compress it, you just can raise the pressure, and all you're doing is you're just slowing down the velocity throughout the oiling system by backfeeding it. And then that way, once you do that, you create a higher pressure evenly across all areas, not just high pressure in one area. The problem with the small block Mopar is that it's picking up the pressure at the first point. It's actually coming up, and then it's actually turning and already feeding off. So you'll get a ghost number that doesn't really exist. By backfeeding it, now you're introducing an oil hole that's going to that tower to the other side. So now it will evenly distribute the oil and actually give you the correct reading evenly across everything.
Puts it in a loop, right?
You're
like on an EFI system, it puts it in a loop. The good thing about the loop is it maintains pressure in the loop, and if you get a low spot, that loop will fill it in. It'll cover
from two sides. Exactly. It'll always even itself out. So no matter where it's going, it will always find itself from two different ways, not just from one. So if someone could put up those videos, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. That would help them out.
Well, the Iceman 2K10 says, I was especially seeing this on EFI vehicles where the timing curve backs off at the last, say, 1,000, 2,000 RPM before the shift point. But I read of people retarding the timing.
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of it.
Me neither. But the EFI wouldn't be surprised because it's meant to be very conservative, and the engine run for 200,000 miles.
Dude, it has to do something with like knock or something, or it has to do with something like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's got to be something coming close to like a rev limiter or something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. John Murphy, 2 different intake heights with hydraulic lifters, and what's the best way to preload? Everyone has a different way. Is a small block. Well, the hydraulic really wouldn't make any difference with the intake heights because it's got 100 and something thousandths in there. I personally set everything off the bottom. Everyone has a different approach. I like it off the bottom. I try to set it 20 to 50 off the bottom. And that way, if you ever go into over rev, it doesn't pop the push rod out. It doesn't float the valve, doesn't do anything. Literally just acts like a solid then at that point. But that's how I do it. I believe Jeff at 2 Hacks Garage, I talked to him on the phone for almost 2 hours while he did that video. But he did a pretty good job of showing how to set it off the bottom from doing it that way. And you could just do it with valve lash. Compress the hydraulic lifter, put it over the nose, It'll bleed all the oil out of it. Then put it onto the base circle, and then just set it. Like if you got a let's just say you have a 1.5 rocker arm. If you put 30 thousandths on this end, that's 20 thousandths down below, and you just set it like you're setting lash, and that's 30 thousandths. You pull it out, that's 20 thousandths down the bottom. Leave it alone. That's what I would do.
I don't do anything like that at all.
Yeah,
I try to set them for 30 thousandths. 30 thousandths is right in the middle of travel. It's technically 30 thousandths off the bottom, like Shane's saying, but it's 60 thousandths generally is how much travel it has. I try to compress it 30 thousandths.
Yeah, our lifters have got the Evolutions lifters have 140 thousandths of travel inside.
Oh my God,
140.
Why so much?
Well, because
it has an insert.
Yes.
So it can be used in any freaking lifter.
Exactly.
So it needs to be in all kinds of variable different applications.
Yeah, and this is how I prove it, is that my green car, my Lizard King that you guys see me drive all the time, that's got hydraulic DLC lifters in it with the Evolution insert in it. That's 20 thousandths off the bottom on every single one. I didn't break that cam in. It's a flat tappet cam. I literally started it up and took it for a drive. And that's how I broke it in. And it's been driving like that for the past 10, well, probably 7,000 miles. And I'm Friday, I'm leaving to go to Dallas, Texas in it. And yeah, I'm driving it across, literally halfway across the U.S.
Let me ask you about the Evolution lifter.
Sure.
Okay. The Evolution lifter, since it has a cartridge that you can take out.
Yep.
Do they have like a solid insert that you can make a solid roller out of them?
Well, it's a different diameter. I actually have some right here, over here, and that's actually what I was going to try to do, because I've been waiting for the engine for this Plan Z was for our DLC solid flat tappet coming. But if they don't, I'm going to take a hydraulic. I'm taking the hydraulic part out, and I'm going to put the solid insert inside of it and make them solid, but they'll have a DLC on them. But that's kind of what I'm same thing, but it's a different diameter, so you're going to have to kind of make things. But yeah, you can.
I was just wondering, because I thought that would be pretty interesting, because your Evolution lifter, you just make one lifter body and then just make multiple inserts for it.
Yeah, what's funny is that I'm not sure if I talked to you about this, but when I came to interview at Comp or Edelbrock, I was actually working for Crower. And at that time, Crower didn't make a hydraulic lifter, and I had just helped working with another company. I can't really say the name of it, working for a lifter. And what's funny is that we made our own lifters at Crower, solid rollers, and I was working on making an insert so that way we could take our solids and then put a hydraulic insert inside of them, so that way people could run them for like hydraulics, or if you had a late model class
lifter,
or whatever.
The cost is like negligible because you're making one lifter.
Exactly. So we're making it so that way we just make an insert that will fit our one size fits all insert, and then just put a clip.
Oh, I think you unplugged your microphone. You somehow unplugged your microphone. I cannot hear you. You have no audio, dude. Well, let's see. Let me catch up on some of the questions that were on there before. Buick Smith asked me, Dallas, do those valve cover adapters make the 215-300 valve cover sit upright?
Can you hear me now?
Angle? Yes, I can hear you just fine now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
Hear you,
dude.
That is, I can't hear.
Yeah, I don't know. I can hear you now, but obviously it's no good if you can't hear me.
Can't hear you, man.
Maybe you should unplug your microphone and plug it back in.
I'm gonna.
Okay, so they 215 300 because that's in the head, the way the head is shaped. That's what makes it sit that way. But so it will be at an angle like a 350 valve cover. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay. SSR Performance says we just got our Triple Crown project fired up 30 minutes ago. I think we're going to make it by the hair of our teeth. That's freaking sweet. Dude, did you get yourself resolved yet? I can hear you. Can't hear me, huh? Maybe you should unplug your headphones and plug them back in. All right. Well, now it's up to me, I guess. Oh, here we are. Are you better? Can you hear me? I'm assuming that's no. Okay. Well, I'm glad that SSR Performance is going to make it to the Triple Crown because I actually saw someone, John Wilburn, sent me a short from on YouTube where.
Chicken check.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. I can hear you now. For whatever reason, I just lost you. That was the crazy. I was just out of the blue. It just went 0. So
I think you might have pulled on your cord on your microphone because it went and then turned off.
I don't know, man. Anyways, did we move past the hydraulic lifter or no?
We did.
Okay.
I just answered a couple of questions that were on there asking about the valve covers, but then I also read that one right there where SSR Performance just got their Triple Crown project fired up 30 minutes ago. I think we're going to make it by the hair of our teeth.
That sounds
awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. And I did see the short where 38 POS was loaded up for with his Triple Crown ride. So S10 pickup coming in.
Hey, Dallas, I was waiting for the live for this, and I have a little bit of notes here. And so you're coming here on Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Okay, you're coming here on Tuesday. On Tuesday, come here early if you can, because me and you are going to make an award, and we're going to do we're going to do the hard luck award like we've always done. We're going to do.
I wonder if did anybody get an award made for the Triple Crown?
Oh yes, yeah, we sure did.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, you and I will do a hard luck award then.
Yeah. So we're going to do a hard luck. I got plenty of parts here, and we'll do something. We'll weld up something awesome for someone because I got.
Dude, it'll be. This is the award you don't want to win, but it's like it'll be a cool reminder that you did win it.
Yeah. Mr. Wilburn is, like always, is going to have a little plaque for it. So we're going to have to make a little part so that way we can like screw up, plaque to it.
I think we make it intentionally have like just a 2x4 base.
Well, I have a different idea for a base because I got some cool stuff, but yeah, get here early on Tuesday if you can, and we'll weld up something cool. So anyways,
it would be even better with particle board. Oh, all right. Man, I can't wait to see the Triple Crown. These guys duke it out. Levi's Backyard Performance says, hell yeah, SSR Performance. That's awesome. So ready to watch that class. Let's see.
SSR saying that they pull timing on the shift to save the transmissions, which is true. They do that. That happens on the ZF8 HPs on the Chryslers quite a bit. They'll pull timing on them to shift and then put it back in because a lot of these transmissions, these new ones, don't have any bands in them, so they're clutch to clutch. So they'll have
can't shift under load easy.
Yeah, so they'll have a 3-stage solenoid. So you'll have this one on, this one not on, right? And then what they do is this one right here will move and sense, and then this one right here will sense this one's turning on. It will go to here, and as soon as this one senses it's here, it shifts on and it shifts off like that. And so it's literally this.
Oh, since they don't have a band, they can't shift under load though, because it can't stop the drum.
That's correct. But they do this really fast, right?
Oh, I'm sure they do. But you would want to pull timing for that.
Yeah.
So that must be like a, I don't know, 4L80E and up transmissions wise, not just GM, but like anything
6L80s, 6L80s, 6R80s.
I'm sorry, 4L60. It'd be anything with the 4L60 and up. No, 4L60 is a band.
Yeah, it's got bands. So it's like a 700. It's got the band up front, but the 6-speeds don't, and the 8-speed Chryslers don't. So anything I would say 6-speed and up is going to be band to band at that point.
Gotcha.
And so clutch to clutch on those. So yeah, they will do that on a shift. They'll pull timing for that.
Jay Malone was saying that Bosch points currently available have the phenolic material to ride on the lobes, which is totally contradictory of all the other ones, which are just plastic, and plastic wears out fast. And because it wears out, guess what it does to your points? Closes the gap, burns them up, and then they're junk.
Yeah. Michael Schmidt's asking another question that I have personally done, and it didn't work all that well. Another vintage ignition question. Has anyone ever had a chance to use an MSD and run A, Pertronics multiple spark, any comparison, performance, or longevity or reliability observations. Now, a Pertronics basically just sends trigger. It's just a trigger for that. But here's what was happening is that the Pertronics is not a clean signal. It was kind of a dirty signal, and it didn't work all that well. In fact, I this was a long time ago. This is back in the 90s now. I remember I had to switch it almost to, instead of the purple and the green wire, I had to put it to the white wire and trigger it like it was being triggered from points, but even though it was a Pertronics, and it wasn't giving me that multiple spark at lower RPMs. It worked, but it didn't work as well as it was if I ran like a Hall effect style distributor.
And, I think you can solve that because that Pertronics is a flying magnet setup.
Yes.
Right? I think you can remove the Pertronics ignition electronics and run that outlet, the magnetic pickup outlet, to an HEI module, like you're saying, because it just needs, it's looking for a clock signal.
Yeah.
That's all that HEI is looking for. And it doesn't matter how you provide it.
Yeah, and where I was having problems with is that the Pertronics likes to go to the coil and you send power to the coil. But on an MSD, you don't want to have anything touching the coil. The MSD triggers the coil. So that's where I was having troubles. I was running power to the Pertronics, but I couldn't get the trigger to fire. So then I remember, I think I hooked up the white wire to the ground, I think is what I did. And that was able to fire it. But it didn't run all that well.
Okay.
I'm searching for sitting units on the bus. What videos changed? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure. I know we're behind. I apologize, but it's the video for the oiling mods for the small block Mopar, the hydraulic one and the solid roller one. There should be two that I made. If you post those, that'd be awesome. I don't remember the gentleman's name who was asking for that question.
Let's see.
Oh, LP94. Have a good night. Thanks for coming on out.
Yeah, Levi's Backyard Performance is asking JB if the trash truck is ready. Is it held together with shoe goo? Maybe so. And mostly old parts. This Ron Ward is here. I'm like way behind. I'm like 10 minutes behind.
Yeah, I'm behind too. I'm at 30. I'm about 6 minutes behind.
Let's see. Jay Malone was saying it. Recently messing with an old 1970s Mercedes with D-Jetronic fuel injection. 2 sets of points in the distributor. 1 set triggers the injectors.
Oh,
dude,
God.
That sounds like a freaking nightmare.
Yeah. Leave it to the Germans to overcomplicate everything. Ron's asking something on non-adjustable shaft mount rockers, big block Mopar, small block Mopar, significantly. What is your best ideas with rocker arm shims? After milling the heads, I found it necessary to shim. Can they cause oiling issues? No, not really, because it's not going to be under pressure. It's just volume, because it's a timed port on those where it comes up and then it's just time to go over there. You're just talking about oil flow. Now, if your cam has got a full groove on it, now you're going to be dealing with pressure. Then it could cause problems. But if it's still just a timed deal where it's, just a hole, it's just going to be volume. It's not going to have any pressure. It's going to be just fine.
But he's talking about, okay, I've run into this problem on Buicks before because the rocker arms are not adjustable. So when you mill the head, it shortens the length, right?
Yeah. So you put shims underneath the rocker arm shaft and it's like a banana, right? So the shims bolt down. But I've never had a problem with them leaking like the Mopar shims. I've even used brass for those.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Is the Mopar ones like, okay, so is the rocker stand cast into the cylinder head?
Yes.
And then so underneath where the rocker arm shaft sits,
it's concave.
You do have to have that machined, because if you put that shim in there, the shaft diameter stays the same, and so does that hole.
It's actually bananaed. So it's not exactly all the way across. It's just in one little area where it bolts down at. So that way it's still touching the ends, but it's thicker in the center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like a banana. If you
the early Buick small blocks, you're kind of lucky because the stands are attached to the shaft and there's a bolt that goes through them. And what's kind of cool is Oldsmobile used that same setup in their 215, but those bolts that went down to hold the rock arm stands went all the way through the head and actually created another head bolt in the block.
Oh, that's
They
good.
drilled, yeah. So I thought about, man, I could probably do that. I don't think it'd be that hard.
Yeah.
But there was a question here. Let's see. Clayton's Toolbox at 726 was saying, how many RPM would an HEI distributor be good for? They usually they say 6,500, but I've seen them go up to like 75. But they do have scatter issues if you use cheap components. So I do know that for a fact. And even with the stock GM stuff now, they start to have scatter issues at 6,500 or so. You can use an MSD makes a module for an HEI.
Excel makes the best one.
Well, no, MSD had one that fit underneath the whole cap. It was humongous.
Yeah, this. Oh, okay. Yeah, I run the little 4-pin module, the Excel one. Like it's that thing is incredible. That one works. That's one I found the best was that Excel one, not the new ones Excel, but the older Excel ones that you used to be able to buy. I never had a problem.
The MSD module is supposed to be good up to 8,000.
Wow. Okay.
And then there's a question right, bro. Iceman 2010 says, Dallas, do you have any plans for the Easy 302? I do. You know, ironically, I think I forgot to mention it to Shane this morning. This morning I woke up like 3:30. I couldn't sleep. That seems to be my normal issue. And what I'll do when I wake up that early is I'll peruse Facebook Marketplace. Dude, there is an 86 vet with a 4+3 Doug Nash for $1,000.
Dude.
I was like almost packing up my truck and trailer and going to get this sucker. And I thought I could have a Triple Crown car in less than a week.
Right.
It would be so fun. A vet with a Doug Nash 4+3. Oh, it'd blow up immediately. But I just, as cheap as the C4 Corvettes are, I think those are C4, right? C3, C4, I don't know. As cheap as those things are, dude, I think that's got to be the meal ticket in that Triple Crown. Yeah, it's got to be.
I'm not really sure where we are at here. I'm kind of right here, and Ron's got this. The correct vintage ignition system is a magneto. I agree.
I would love to have one. They're $1,500. There's actually a company, Joe Hunt Mags. Joe Hunt Mags is still in existence, I think. And there's a guy from Australia that owns them. And he said, we make them for a small block Buick, and I can put a big block Buick distributor gear on it if you want a magneto for a big block Buick. And I'm like, man, do I? You know, how about I just buy one magneto and you send me both gears? So, because it's the same damn distributor.
Mohawk 62 says, I have biased feelings about MST. I went back to the OG points and haven't looked back. Made some videos about it. I love points. Me and Dallas have talked about this. At the time, we've talked about this many times. I can never find any decent points that last more than a week. Like literally, when I first got the green car, I was adjusting the valves and changing the points every week. I was driving 200 miles to Crower and back. It was 250 miles a week. And I was literally changing points and adjusting valves every week. And I was like, I can't do this. I just can't do this.
Oh, man.
Oh, here's the video on the lifter video. If whoever it was, I apologize. If I remembered your name, I'm sorry. But yeah, that right there shows you what to do for the hydraulic one. And there's another one here somewhere. If you get to that one, there'll be another one for the solid lifter.
So the reason why I kind of I shied away from the Mohawk question. I am a staunch believer in multi-spark ignition, especially below 2,500 RPM where most on a street car.
It needs it
because it works well. You could have a way jack tune, and that thing will crutch you big time.
Kill it. Yeah, just knock it out of the park.
The OG points, I mean, they're good. I like points. There's nothing wrong with them. They're reliable. They're easy to deal with. The downside to them is they don't have multiple spark. Now, the MSD box, it has one major flaw, and that is just like any other electronic ignition, One day it'll work fine. You stop at a red light, or you just pull in the parking lot and shut it off, and it will not start again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I for that reason too is the reason why I went to the HI module in the forward coil in the green car. In the Cookie Monster, I got a digital
Well, that
6.
HEI module will do that too.
Yes, it will, and
But
it
they
has.
generally do that when they get hot.
Exactly. And it has done that when I bought a cheap, when I went, it was an O'Reilly's. Remember the Mastercraft? Is it Mastercraft? I think is what it is. Yeah, I
Oh,
think it's
maybe Sheng Shao. Sheng Shao computer module.
It
Yeah.
was a Mastercraft, and it was plugged up. It had ground and everything, and it wasn't hot. And it literally just was driving down the road, shut off, and then no spark, no nothing. And then changed it out. Went and bought a decent new old stock AC Delco module, and it's been in that car since 2018. The same one.
You know which one did it to me? Believe it or not, the DUI, Davis Unified Ignition.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, it went 8 miles and this loud explosion, and it backfired through the exhaust, and then the truck just quit running. And I'm like, what in the world? And I'm like, it can't be this module. I just put it in.
Yeah,
I literally just put it in, and it's supposed to be the best ones you can buy.
Yeah,
and
I moved the module onto the fender well, and then I went down and got a Chevrolet V6. Yes, exactly. I want those and then re-drilled the hole, and then took those little things off of it. And I'm telling you, put that down there, and you put that on the fender well, so it's like extra cool because it's touching the aluminum and touching the fender well, and I can go over there. The thing could be running all day. I touch it, and it's ice cold, so it never gets hot.
So there is actually a better workaround for that, to be honest with you.
Really?
You can take a heat sink from a computer with a fan on it, and you mount the module to the bottom, and then you put screws up through the bottom into the heat sink, and it holds the module upside down with the fan on top of the heat sink for the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get an old computer heat sink for like peanuts.
Yeah. I got those things at the wrecking yard for like $1.
They're not much.
Yep. Yeah, and so anytime I see like a late 90s V6 whatever Chevrolet, I just go and pick them up because they're right there on top, and I've got a whole thing full of them here. But that's once I did that, once I put that on there, and then I put one on the wife's car, we never had a problem with them ever. And then I bought a new old stock for the wife's car also, and that one's been in there since 2018 also. So Clint Street Machine saying, I was a total MSD fanboy before they were sold out to investment group and the exceptional customer service went away.
Yeah, that happens a lot of them.
Yeah. Were they out of Texas? Weren't they out of
Texas? They were out of Memphis, where you're at. They were on
MSD.
Democrat Road.
Real MSD?
Yes, real MSD was literally right there by you guys in Comp Camps.
Oh, I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that.
I went to... They used to have a parts supplier there where you pull in the parking lot and you could buy like anything Holly, or it was a parts supplier. I can't remember what it was called, but I walked outside, there was a dude got shot right there on the like on the sidewalk in front of the place. And so they moved all their stuff. I imagine that's probably when they got bought out. I don't know. That was about 95 that happened. Memphis has always been pretty bad in that area of town.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mexican Spec says, how many cars can you race in 2 days, Dallas? Come on. He wants to know.
I don't know. So Sheen and I were talking about it. Like, I got to do, we'll see how the Suburban goes. I'll see who I can race with the Suburban. Or if I can turn up something to race, then that would be good.
Yeah. Just as long as if you race the Suburban, just it's deep.
I'm going to do it again. Yeah, I'm going to take it super deep. But now it runs way better than it did last year.
Yeah. So. Oh, man, I got to tell you a little story. I never even told you this one. When I went out testing last Friday for the car, they had it. It was an approach tree. It was on a 5/10 tree, man. Man, how hard is that? When you're so used to running like on a trans brake on a 5/10 and like on a pro tree, like I saw the top one flash, and then I was just about to release, and I saw because it was slow, and I was like, what? And then it went down to the next one. I let off the throttle, And then as soon as it's getting down, as soon as that one went off, I floored it. And then the light came on and right? Man, I was still like 075. And I was like, man, that sucks.
Well, I'd still foot brake the whole thing. I don't have a trans brake.
Yeah.
So I can shift between. I just suck at a pro tree. Like it's hard for me to murder a pro tree.
Yeah, I was practicing pro tree, and I'm consistently now. I used to be consistently in 035. Now I'm consistently in the 040s and 050s, which is what it is. You know, maybe it's because I lost that first gear. I kind of have a power glide now. Who knows? But
yeah. Well, I'm catching up. I'm still only 10 minutes behind now. Mostly parts says stock OEM GM HEI distributors with no wear, which is slop on the shafts, because that's a big one for them. Can be checked with a dwell meter. And the slop on the shaft is because it just has a brass bushing in it. If you were to take that brass bushing out and put a bearing in it, they're way better. Are good for way more RPM than my engines are capable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Iceman says something here funny. Dallas has my favorite saying for aftermarket ignition. MSD is good for getting you to the track, not so good for getting you home.
Yeah, that's that thing when they go back. Well, I'll put it. All right, on YouTube, go look and see if you can find like a 1980s or early 1990s NASCAR race and watch it. Okay, and generally what you find in there is they have two ignition systems. Both of them are MSD. They have a primary and a backup. And the reason why they have that is because it dies in the middle of nowhere, right? And just like no symptoms, it just shuts off and does not work again.
Yep, and they'll flip it right over.
Yep.
So here's the other oiling mod video. This one, I'm assuming this is for the solid. So thank you for putting that up. I appreciate that. Jay Malone's asking, what about Jacobs ignitions? Any better? Look, I had a Jacobs. I still have one over here.
They exist anymore.
They don't exist anymore, but I tell you, I never had a problem with Jacobs ignition ever. Never had a problem. I've had a few people with them, but they would have them in a car. They'd sell the car, and then the ignition would go away. I have one right now, so I'm still looking for something to put it on. Ron's agreeing with you. Dallas, you're 100% correct. If you're out on the road, read heading to No Names Nationals next week. If the MSD leaves the chat, you're screwed. That's
yeah. You just carry another box in the glove box.
Or you just do what I did: HEI module, Ford coil, and you have a spare in the trunk, and that way you never have to worry about it. You know,
and you can pick up a HEI module. They probably sell them at McDonald's still.
Yeah, dude. Here's what sold me on it. This is the true story. I had my car. We went down to Mission Beach, and down at Mission Beach, there's a right there by the roller coaster. There's that Del Taco or Taco Bell right there on the corner. Right next to that, there's like this 7-Eleven like hybrid gas station, like whatever Mart.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
They sold HEI modules in that fucking store.
That was not 7-Eleven. That's the 76.
Oh yeah, it was a what?
76. That's a 76.
But it didn't have a gas station. It wasn't. It was an old gas station, but couldn't sell gas anymore because it was too close to the
ocean.
Yeah, it's too close to the ocean, and it would flood there. But it was like an old gas station, like Mart, like liquor store, like it was a slash everything.
Gotcha. I understand.
And so like they had more food than they had anything else, but they had HEI modules hanging in little blister packs, and I'm just like, oh, that tells me everything I need to have right there. So,
dude, that whole area of town actually used to be really cool for hot rodding, because that's where all my schools in the Navy were. Whereas that Point Loma, Mission Beach area, like everything was right around that area. I got really familiar. That's why I knew about the Schneider cams, where you can walk up to the window and order them and get a burrito across the street. Was because that's all within walking distance.
Yeah.
Iceman, there used to be a really bitch in Napa up there in right by the Schneider cams too.
Exactly. It was the hub. It was the main hub.
Was it?
Yeah, that was one of the main hubs. Yeah. So
it had the coolest street because it was in like one of those old weird 40s buildings that was real narrow and tall. and the
Yeah.
streets went on both sides of it.
Went like this. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
right on the edge of a corner. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Iceman's asking Shane, is a GM HI module good for firing all epoxy coils like the 52? No. Now, I don't know because I don't know much about those coils. I really don't. But if you're going to do it, just get a Ford coil, because literally a Ford coil is the exact same thing as an MSD coil. And they work so well. And everybody will have that coil, like a 1990s through a 1999 Ford coil, and they have the plug in the help section, so you can just get the coil and a new plug in the help section anywhere.
Oh, so Gabe is saying here MSD originated in El Paso, Texas.
That's what I thought. So
Okay, I just remember seeing them there in Memphis in like 95 or 6. So
because
maybe they were already owned by Holly or something.
my MSD 10 box says El Paso, Texas on it, and I didn't know if that was just a distributor or not, because they stopped making that MSD 10 because it was killing people. But it says El Paso, Texas right on it.
Huh. Paul who is saying, has anyone tried the progression ignition setup or system setup? Andy Wood did a video on it. He's got a progression ignition system. I think they did it on a Chevrolet. I'm not sure. Maybe it's in Casper.
Oh yeah. He is running one of those, huh?
Yeah. I don't have one. I did call about him, and the guy was actually really cool. He was going to send me one for a Buick, but what I wanted to do was try to become a distributor and sell them at the Buick Nationals, because I never even knew they existed till I Googled it one day. I was actually looking for a Bluetooth capable. I was actually looking at making a Bluetooth capable ignition system, like an entire distributor, and then put a map sensor on it instead of a vacuum module for a vacuum advance. And I looked it up, and lo and behold, Progression Ignition already makes all that stuff, and I had never even heard of them. So they got some neat stuff.
Yeah, I think Clint's saying that I think they moved to Tennessee when they were sold. I didn't know.
Oh, they could have. I don't know. They're all up in Bowling Green now. Is it MSD part of Holly?
Ron's like saying this is true, and I'm sorry, I apologize, but I'm describing it because the person that I'm describing it to is Dallas, and he
I've been
will understand. He's been there, so I'm sorry. Okay, so she's describing California town like everyone knows what he's talking about, because dude, I'm telling you, it's like, if you know, because it's like, it's a very common, it's only one road in and out of that area. In fact, that's the dead end. Mission Beach is literally, once you go south enough, there's like a water thing that goes out, and on the other side is the People's Republic of OB is what I call it. And there's no way to get across there. You have to go back out and around and come in to the People's Republic of OB.
That's where the 8 ends.
Yes, exactly. And
it's right there at Mission Beach, and like right where it ends is like SeaWorld, and then all the little town area around it is what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And so like it literally dead ends right there at the parking lot at this beach.
Yeah. And it actually splits at one little point. You either go to the right, you go to Mission Beach. If you go to the left, it goes to the People's Republic of OB. And I say it like that on purpose, because if you don't know, if you're not at that time, if you weren't from OB and you knew where everything was in OB, you were a tourist. Even if you lived 10 minutes away, you were still a tourist. And so
38 Racing is saying, so Dallas, you hate a Pro Tree, yet that's what we get for the Triple Crown. Okay, I hate a Pro Tree because my car is not set up for a Pro Tree. If you're wanting to run a Pro Tree on foot brake, okay, remember it's foot brake, not a trans brake or anything. If I was to have a trans brake in my car, it'd be a 10th quicker, right? Easily. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the reason why I hate the Pro Tree, I love actually doing the Pro Tree, and I love races with the Pro Tree, because I'll give you an example. The Pro Tree happens so quick that there's so much left on the tree that it's literally anybody's race if the cars are within a 10th.
Exactly.
Now, if you do it on a 5/10 sportsman tree, they're going to murder the tree, and there won't be anything that's a driver error thing.
Yeah.
And it will be all up to the car at that point.
Exactly. That's why I'm either Pro Tree or Instant Green, for those exact reasons.
I really like the Instant Green because that kind of leaves it all out there. But see, the instant green happens so fast that there would be people that lose just because the green happened so fast. Their brain didn't even register it was green.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Like last year at No Name Nationals, I had pulled Michael Yielding first round. Okay. And we were doing instant green for the 28-10-5 class. That was the only saving grace that I had. And I figured, okay, I'm going home anyway. If I can just leave and cut a light on Yielding, maybe he won't have his stuff together enough, and I'll just leave that dude sitting at the line. So if you ever watched the race between me and Michael Yielding, and it looks like I just put bus links on the guy off the line, it's because I went up there, staged the car. I was the second one in the second stage beam. And I already had my plan. And I told Shane before I even rolled in, I'm like, dude, as soon as I go up there and hit the second beam, I'm going to count to 2 and let it eat. Right. Yep. And I rolled in the second beam. And as soon as it came on, I'm like 1,000, 2, 1,000, and just let her go. And as the front end of the car was coming up, I saw the green light come on. And I'm like, yes. I'm thinking to myself, Yielding, you better have your shit together or you're going home right now. You know, and that dude was probably really fucking surprised.
Yeah. That's funny. We have a call. I'm just seeing if there's anything here as we're rolling through.
Iceman 2K10 says we have a store here called Meyer, which I'm familiar with Meyer. That's okay. A big one up north. Mm-hmm. It's like a regional Walmart. They used to sell Mopar, VRs, ECMs, HEI modules, caps, and rotors. It was super cool. We have a Meyer where, where I'm originally from is Central Illinois, and then Champaign, Urbana, they built this humongous Meyer, like my dad was part of it. So maybe 1992 or 3, they built that, and it was huge. Golly, it made it like Super Walmart look small, and this was like 10 years before Super Walmart. Mohawk says a set of points in a condenser take up less room in the glove box. They do.
Yeah, right. But I'm telling you, a GM module is about this big. And then, I have a little egg crate in the back. Remember those little milk crates? I got one of those. It's got a thing of oil. It's got a thing of training fluid. It's got some tools in it and some parts. It's all good.
Well, and if you got the HEI module externally mounted, oh my God, it'd probably take less than 30 seconds to change that thing.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's just 2 screws.
Exactly. And then I have the screws going up from underneath, so it's just 2 nuts on top. Drop right back down.
Well, Danny Boyd saying, how was it killing people? Shocks from the coil? MSD used to be like 40,000 volts at multiple spark.
Well, the MSD, it's not the volt, it's the amperage. See, the MSD10.
It's still millijoules, like for amperage wise.
Yeah, but the MSD10 is an amperage.
It's not the 10. Yeah, you're right.
The MSD10 is an amperage. It's not a millijoules. It's an amperage deal. I think it's like 1 point something amps. And if you get that across the hand, that goes right across your heart. Dude, you could stop your heart.
0.1 amps, regardless of the voltage, will kill you. It's just potential, right? So the higher the amperage, the more potential that it creates.
That's correct.
And that's where it will kill you big time.
Yeah.
Like in the Navy, they wouldn't let us work on anything that was they didn't care about the voltage at all. If the amperage was over like, I don't know, like maybe 0.1, 0.2 amps, I think they would put an all stoppage to work. And you'd have to shut the equipment off, which made it impossible to troubleshoot. But and what those old MSD boxes, if you ever grabbed like a 6AL, if like back when Super Shops was around, MSD used to have like one of those stands that sat on the Super Shops counter, and you would go in there and you would spin this freaking distributor, and it'd throw lightning bolts compared to your regular junk GM stuff, right? Well, at least my junk GM stuff. A 10, I could only imagine, would be like, it would sound like you're welding.
Dude, it's an arc. It literally makes a crack sound. And here's Ron saying, had a buddy, Drag Week champ, who installed an MSD10 on his Mopar. I've never seen someone hit the ground so fast as he hit the ignition timing. So yes, I'm telling you, like, I have it. I've never put it on a vehicle for that reason, because I've never been able to put a cap big enough to control it.
Well, so MSD also made a magneto called a Pro Mag 44.
Yes,
Did you ever see those things?
I did see those. Yes,
That was like you were literally riding the lightning having those things on your car.
Yes.
Like that Pro Mag 44, that thing was no joke. It had like 2 times the size rare earth magnets in it than all the other magnetos. And I mean, it would throw lightning.
Yeah, it cracks. I've actually fired it up here just to make sure the box work, and I stood back and spun it, and I had a glove in my hand, and man, the sound that thing made, and it literally made a Frankenstein spark about 4.5 inches, and I'm looking at a spark plug. It's like I could literally take the back strap off of this thing. It doesn't need it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the whole, you got to remember what the Pro Mag 44 was made for.
Yeah.
Was like top fuel racing. And you cram as much nitro in there as possible to the point where it's just water or fuel in the cylinder.
That's right.
And that thing lights off.
Yeah.
Still lights it.
Yeah, still lights it.
And they have those Pro Mag 44s on dual.
And that's you know, there was a thing a while back, like, how do we slow down these top fuel cars? Just take a magneto away. They run a single mag. If all they can run is a single mag, it will slow the cars down. They can still run a full quarter mile, and they won't have to run 1,000 foot.
I've said that years ago. There's 3 things that you could have done to control top fuel instead of doing the stupid shorten the track thing.
Yeah.
1, you decrease the size of the mag, right? 2, you decrease the size of the fuel pump. Okay.
Yeah.
And then 3, you put them on a smaller slick that's a mandated smaller slick.
But see, the mag, if you just do the mag, that will instantly kill the amount of fuel that you can run, because you can't ignite all that fuel, right? It'll be like a Heritage Series.
Oh yeah, you're right. They can't run that big pump.
You can't run the big pump then. So that will instantly cure that. And then they wouldn't need as big of a tire. So they would instantly go to a smaller tire, so that, because they wouldn't have the power to expand that big ass tire and run that top gear out the back. So yeah. But I like what Ron says here. Pro Tree is an equalizer. I stand in full support of it. I can't hit it, but I support it.
I'm the same way. When Shane and I were doing Match Race Madness stuff and the 28 10.5 NA, or 10.5 NA is what it was called, I was having the hardest time, because my car is literally a foot brake car. I do not have a tranny brake. Everything runs off the brake pedal. And I set it up that way because it's simple and easy and not hard on parts. Before that, I did nitrous, and nitrous was hard on stuff off the line. Tranny brake, same thing, hard on drivetrain.
Yeah.
And so I was just trying to take it easy and be easy on parts. But you know, I ran super gas with the NHRA in 2000. When was that? 2016?
Yeah.
I think so. When I ran up at Fontana, and I showed up, and I was the only guy in the whole class without a tranny brake. The whole idea of it was, like I said, be easy on parts, but I could not hit the tree good at all. I mean, I couldn't cut a light worth of crap. And that's because the car has these big, tall tires on it for rollout purposes. Mm-hmm. In bracket racing, rollout's good because you essentially leave on the second green. And by the time the third green or the third stage light comes on, your green is going off, right? So you leave on the third green, or the third amber. Golly, what the fuck is wrong with my brain today? You leave on the third amber, and then by the time you roll out of the beams, the green is on and you cut a pretty decent light. It works really bad against you when it's a 4/10 Pro Tree, because all of that rollout, you got to remember, as soon as you see any color, you got to let her go, right? Mm-hmm. And you add in, it's now 1/10 of a second faster, right? So it doesn't have 5/10. It's got 4/10, and you only get one flash of yellow. And so that extra 1/10 of a second, you're already starting off at 0.1 something on a reaction time.
Yeah.
That's what sucks. So the guys, when I was running at Fontana, oh man, it was such a huge stir. because I showed up with a car that didn't have any electronics on it to run, no throttle stops, no delay boxes, no none of that stuff. These guys hadn't seen that in 30 years. They didn't even know how to race me. And what happened was they had a driver's meeting and they started ruling me out. Well, luckily the NHRA tech official was like, no, man, it says if you got a delay box or a throttle stop, these are the model numbers you got to run. Not you have to run one. And they're like, well, I don't, everybody was they were trying to throw everything at me to get me thrown out. Well, this old guy in the back, he was like, I said, hey, man, I don't know what's going on here. He's like, oh, dude, they're mad at you because they don't know how to race you. Right. And I'm like, what? I said, you just pull up to the line. And he's like, no. They want it easy in the bag. And they haven't had it like this in 30 years. He's like, hey, come over to my trailer. I'm going to show you some tricks. I really like what you're doing because you're shaking it up so bad. These guys are pissing their pants. Right. And so he took me over his trailer and he was already out first round and he was running an old Bob Glidden like Ford Pinto. And it had like these 23 or 24 inch front tires on it. Right. And he's like, here, man, take those tires off and go put them on your car. And now you have less rollout. So you'll be able to cut a light. Mm-hmm. And now it's really going to scare them when you can cut a light and then run the number and have none of that stuff on there. Because they don't know when to dump on you. Because the car is going to come so hard, right? Either they're going to, if you know how throttle stop racing works, they either dump it at the beginning and they kind of burble off the line until they get to the 60-foot mark and then run like crazy. Or they dump it on the big end. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the reason why they're sweating is my car would take off tires up and run all the way out, all the way down the track. So what would happen was it put this huge gap between me and them, and they didn't have to make it up. Well, the reason why they went to the throttle stop racing is because the closure rate was easier to tell who was going to win as they pulled up on you. All right. But when you're running flat out and they don't know how much you're holding, they can't gauge the closure rate and they freak out about it. And because nobody's done it in 30 years, there's no one to teach them how to do it, what they used to do back when it was pro gas. So I really like shaking them up. Okay.
Clint's got a good one here. I think I know the answer. Would using a torque converter with a flywheel instead of a flex plate give you any more oomph off the line? No, because the flex a converter full of fluid is going to weigh about the same as a flywheel anyways. And then if you add the extra weight, now you're just slowing down, basically revving it up, because now you're going to have a lot of moment of inertia there that just you're going to have to overcome. But yeah, your converter with fluid and it's going to be up in the 60-pound range anyway, so it's going to be actually a little heavier than a flywheel. So yeah, I wouldn't do that. In fact, I can feel on my car when I run like an SFI flex plate, and it's a heavier flex plate. I can actually feel that on the green car, and I actually took it off and I went back to a regular flex plate to get it as light as possible because I could feel that extra weight.
Look at Buick Smith up here at 803. I know I'm 10 minutes behind still. I'm routinely run 10 minutes behind.
And Buick Smith.
He says, Dallas, can we talk a little bit about running multiple switch pitch converters with Shane and TCI? I told him this idea like 2 days ago, and I asked you about it this morning.
It would be kind of cool, man. I like I said, I have to, I'm off next week. But after that would be something we could do like on a Friday or something when there's no one there. I think
it would be kind of cool to do like a live with it. I don't know about a live because you got to take the tranny off and then change the converter and put it back on. But I think it would definitely be a really awesome video that I think, I don't know, it might only help the Buick guys, but it would answer a lot of questions. See, have I ever told you the history of that whole thing with the switch pitch converters? They were available in different myriads of stuff, right? So you had like the full-size car with a small block, and then you had the full-size car with a big block. And the big block one's got a 13-inch converter. The small block car's got the 12-inch converter. And then you had the small block cars with a mid-size car. So it got a different converter, right? Then you had the V6 with a switch pitch, and it had it's still the same size 12-inch converter as the 300, but it had supposedly a different pitch because it's a V6, right? So it would have a higher stall. Way back when, the only people that knew this was Kenny Bell. And Kenny Bell marketed them as race converters with different stall speeds on them. Okay. And they would literally sell you a stall speed converter for a switch pitch. And what they had done was pulled it out of whatever V6 or 300 small block option there was, cleaned the converter, had it flushed, and then spray painted it, sold it to you as a new race converter, right? Now, they probably cut them open and made sure everything was okay and then welded them back together, but it was nothing more than that. But there's always been this myriad, like, I don't know, this, I don't know, I guess you would call them like the stigma about the converters. They're always, it's the big block one is supposed to be like 1100 stall. The small block one for the full size car is supposed to be like 1300 stall or 1500 stall. I think it's 500 each one, I think is what it is. So it's maybe 1600 stall in high stall. And then you go to the other one's like another 500. So it's like 2000 stall, and then 2500 with the V6 one. Wow. But nobody's ever tested any of them. And I literally got like one of each. And we can just take the Turbo 400 out of the Suburban, slap it on there, put a converter on, do the stall speed on it, flick the switch, see what the stall speed is there. So you're getting 6 converters of information out of 3 converter changes.
Yeah. And what's good about that, if you guys watched that video where I showed this transmission being built for Plan Z, we had that Mustang dyno, which has 800 foot-pounds of torque, and it can do almost 1,000 foot-pounds of torque as far as grabbing. So we can literally grab that thing down, and we can load that thing. So we could, get the cross-sectional area of his truck, get the coefficient of drag of his truck, get the amount of torque that we think it makes, gear size and tire size, load it on the one end, and then put the converter into it, put the X amount of torque into it, and then we can test it at different torque levels on that vehicle. So it'd actually be cool.
I think it would be cool. Michael Schmidt here at 807 says MSD display. I remember that had a display where you could push a button and the MSD would shoot out an ass-puckering Frankenstein lightning bolt.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Now take that. Now the difference between that and an MSD 10 or even that Mag 44 he was talking about, it's thicker. So imagine it being that same little lightning bolt, but now it's like a half an inch wide, and when it hits, it makes a cracking instead of just like a little popping noise. It's a crack, like whoa, like that's scary sounding.
Like you are welding.
Yeah. Ron saying Dallas, it's not only rollout, it's suspension slack, suspension rise, U joint slap, ring gear slop, etc. Those super class cars react so quickly because they're literally a direct drive. But here's the thing, Ron, is that on my car, on the Cookie Monster, when I was at Verona, I had 24-inch tires on it because I was running in that Heritage series. It was basically an index class. It was either 1060 or 960. I'd run in the 2 different classes. I had to go to Verona. Just seemed to be the timing seemed to be off sometimes, and I would literally go red at that light at that track all the time
on the left side. And
yes,
when the sun's going down.
When the sun's going down, I would literally go red on that. I went to a 26 tire. It slowed my reaction time down, but I didn't go red anymore on that track. So
yeah, that left side.
I still run the 26 tire.
Bitch, I went red, didn't even move.
Yeah. In fact, that one I didn't move, and it went red also. I was literally I had just staged up and pushed the button. All of a sudden, it showed red. I'm like, what? I was racing that 55 Chevy.
And it's erroneous because it doesn't even give you a time. That means you left so early.
Yep.
It didn't even give you a time. So No Deck Speed Shop says the Navy was always overcautious when it came to electricity. Too many guys died doing stupid shit their chiefs told them to. There probably is a lot of truth to that. Ron Moore says super gas equals 00 and dead on. Better bring your A game. Dude, that was what I was wanting. I wanted a challenge. I wanted it hard, and I wanted to shake things up. And, man, it did all of them to the point where they threw me out of the next event. And so it didn't even allow me to come back.
This is actually funny. Ron, I got to give it to you. This is funny. He goes, torque converter equals fluid coupler that takes hopes and dreams and turns them into broken dreams and disappointment.
Or broken converters and dreams and disappointment.
Well, here's the thing about a converter, though, is that it actually does make more power off the line. That's hence the K value. Only for a brief second, but it will actually make more torque through the shaft than the engine can supply. And that's the only beauty of them. I literally would go back to a manual transmission racing. The Cookie Monster is my very first automatic race car I've ever had. It was that car. Everything else has been a stick shift, and I definitely want to go back to stick shift because I want to have more fun having fun racing.
Iceman 2K is out of here. So,
yeah, take it easy, bud.
Mom M3 says the Nelsons went live every day for 9 days. I tuned in every day. You and Shane working live? Yes. Well, I don't know about that. Like, it probably would be kind of boring.
Yeah.
We're only just testing converters. But I talked to Shane about it, and he said, just like he said on here, it'd have to be an after-hours thing, and we'd have to get approval from the folks at Edelbrock TCI to do it.
Yeah, it'd be mostly TCI. It would be Nashland, but I don't see a problem with it. It'd just be finding the time to do it. You know what I mean? But it would definitely be on Friday. I'm not sure if we'd go live. I mean, we could, but there'd be time in between that, we take the transmission back off to change the converter. Everything's got to roll back, drain fluid, and it just takes a long time. So,
yeah. And I don't know if I'm sure. Okay. The way I'm thinking of it is this: that's a corporate company, right? They will want to see what you're making before it goes out, just to make sure there's no dingleberry in the back room smoking weed that you accidentally get on camera. You know what I mean? I mean, they want to make sure that the company doesn't look bad, and I don't blame them for that. Let's see. Nine Finger Wrenching says, so this is Dallas, your buddy who knows about Ford stuff. Oh, I don't know who he's talking to.
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of reading through those. I thought it was just people talking to each other. I'm trying to catch up. Okay, I think I finally caught up down here. Okay, good.
So Michael said, switch pitch, is there a modern equivalent? Should this make it? Typo, should TCI make a switch pitch? I think that switch pitch has run its course. That what killed it was the cost and effectiveness. Yeah. It cost GM a ton of money to make each one of those switch pitch setups, and they found it was easier that the regular Turbo 400 was fine, didn't need the switch pitch. The switch pitch was a carryover from the Dynaflow, where the Dynaflow only had one speed. So the converter was 2-speed converter. And then it made a big difference in acceleration, right? But when you went to the Turbo 400, which had 3 gears, and then a switch pitch, it was kind of overly redundant. But if you look at it, it's kind of like nitrous oxide on a pretty healthy street car. Okay, you take a pretty healthy street car and you feed it some nitrous oxide. Now it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Look out, right? I mean, because now it's a real race car and it's a world beater. And that's the easy way to do it. The switch pitch does the same thing in a towing application. It goes from just a regular drivable, 3-speed to having that sloppy converter. But it also does the same thing for a race car, because you can go to the track, get decent mileage when you're on your way there, and then throw that sucker in high stall, and it's just like you changed the converter.
The biggest problem with the switch pitch is the converter itself, because you're changing the blades of the stator, so they can only take so much torque, because that's literally the thing that where the fluid comes around, hits the stator. The stator is what turns the shaft, because that's actually what's moving it, right? So and then because you're changing the angle of that, instead of it being brazed all the way around, it's brazed all the way around, but now it's on a shaft that's actually spinning and changing the angle.
There's a lot of extra mechanical stuff in there that makes it more complicated. There's actually another downside too, if you talk to Shane about it, or it don't really matter. I'll throw it out there. The center shaft is hollow, because it has to route fluid through the center shaft to run the stator, to move the piston for the stator. Okay. when you make the shaft hollow, technically it shouldn't lose any torque capability because torque runs on the outside of the shaft.
Yeah, on the surface, yeah.
But the problem is going to be it's going to be very limited on torque and horsepower input. So to work great on a really low horsepower, low torque combination,
Like towing, yeah.
actually it'd be like pretty much just about any stock big block would be fine.
Perfect, yeah.
But the time you start jacking it up, you spray that sucker with nitrous.
Done.
Well, now your stator, which is it's only a GM part, right? Like nobody makes one, and there's none out of billet. So it's a cast stator with movable fins on it.
Yeah, and most of it, like when we took one apart, we cut one open and looked at it. It literally has this drive that moves back and forth, and it just changes the angle of how many fins and where they're at. And as the flue comes around and hits that, it's trying to push it one direction, and you're trying to force it this direction, and that's a lot of torque. So yeah. But Ron's asking a question. He says, would a clutchless manual transmission work better than a switch pitch converter on a turbo car?
Oh, well, switch pitch would be terrible for
Yeah.
a turbo car. You want something that locks the converter.
Exactly. That's exactly what you want. You want to load. The turbos want load.
And stick shifts, they load. You know, what I think would be really good if you were running a stick shift with a turbo, I think you'd probably be better. You'd have better luck with like a 3-speed manual because it'd load that turbo hard coming off the line because it's virtually like the same gear ratio package as like a turbo 400, but the converter's locked as soon as you let the clutch out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a good concept. It would definitely be something worth trying because I don't know if a 3, 4, 5-speed would be or a 6-speed would be ideal in a turbo application.
Ron says the MSD10 sound effect. Zap.
Yeah.
It's exactly right. It is. Yeah. It's to the point where I keep it up on the top shelf as kind of like a prop at this point, you know. Maybe one day I'll build something with twin Predators and an MSD10. I don't know. That would be cool. Go ahead and read this one here, man.
Well, Bobby Frizzell says mostly old parts with modern clutch technology and a good race prep 4-speed. There's no need to waste the extra money on a clutchless transmission. Oh, well, that's pretty interesting information to know because I don't have a clutchless and I don't want to buy a clutchless. I'd like to keep it old school.
Yeah.
Shane and I talk about this a lot. My 63 Buick, I'm not so much building it for the fan. It'll be cool for the fan to watch. I want me as the driver to enjoy it just as much as the fan, if not more.
Yeah. I want to slow down and have a little bit more fun because we've said it many times. I had more fun in a 13 to 11 second car than I ever did in a 10 and a 9 second where I could actually drive it. And I want to just have that fun experience again, you know?
My T-Bird was cool, but you know, there was no possibility of me driving to Lambert's. It would overheat something serious. I mean, it is in the same category as Dylan Levi's Laguna, but Dylan's got that big turbo on there. So his is literally Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Mine is an NA motor, right? Like all engine. So it's rowdier than, 1970s NASCAR. Okay. It does not like to be driven more than like a few hundred feet. And it only has a 1-core radiator that holds 1 gallon of water. So,
yeah. So he's saying, Ron, to add, my cousin runs a stick shift turbo Colorado with tuning capabilities. Load on the engine is actually not necessary, but does help.
I figured the more load you had, the better it was. Because if you run a diesel truck with an automatic, when it goes into high gear and then locks the converter, man, that's the freight train right there.
Yeah. My truck's that way, dude. It just, as soon as I can get that converter to lock, that's its happy place. The mileage gets better, and it just loads all the cooling comes down. You're not spinning RPMs, and it just runs better. So Ron says, I think that switch pitch evolved into the lockup converters of present day. I think you're right.
I think exactly what happened to it. Yeah, because it's shortly thereafter, the demise of the switch pitch in '67 was the lockup converters of the 1970s and the turbo 350 lockups.
Mm-hmm. Mostly parts saying I'm attacking Gladys this weekend in search of 20 plus miles per gallon. Curly get 19.2. Wish me luck. Well, good job, man. That's awesome.
Dude, I bet you'll find that in the vacuum advance.
Yes, I agree. Exactly. I was just going to say.
Yep. Because you've got it so close now that you can't cut any fuel. You can't cut anything like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet you'll find it in a vacuum advance by adding 1 degree, you know.
I'm going to try that. I'm driving to Dallas this weekend, and my goal is that when I'm going down the road, I'm trying to get it to about 15.1, 15.2 going down the road. If I can do that,
gallon, but air fuel ratio, right?
What's that?
Air fuel ratio.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. I'm talking about air fuel. If I can get 15:1 air fuel ratio, that means that I'll get right back to probably that 26 miles per gallon. That would be awesome at 70 miles an hour. If I can get there, I should be there.
Man, you should tape up some of the grill. Be serious about it. Take the tires up to like 45 pounds, tape up some of the grill.
I just wouldn't have the tires rebalanced. I had them static balanced, with the weight, stick-on weights, and I always pump them up to 45 pounds. It's funny you said that, and I'm literally going for it, man. I'm going to try to see what I can get out of it. I'm going to make a short out of it. Why not? Ron, if the Laguna lasts a few passes, are you going to take a ride in it? For my passenger pass, I'm going to give them a good 230 foot and 300 foot and lift. Yeah. I'm actually putting a passenger seat in the Cookie Monster too. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give them a launch and a 300 and then let off.
Let's see. John Murphy says, wait, I had a friend that had a 61 Buick 2-speed drive and super. Was it 1 gear with a switch pitch? Because when worked, it would move out, but it wouldn't hold up. It depends which Buick it was. You could have a Buick Special with that little 2-speed. I don't even remember what it's called, like turbine drive or something weird like that. But it only in the Buick Specials. It was just its own thing, just like the Slim Jim and the Oldsmobiles. Mm-hmm. It was only around for those 3 years, and then it changed to a Super Turbine 300.
You know that Bobby Frizzell sent me a video that almost about an hour before we went live here, and it's
was it the Buick? Yeah, was it the starter on the gas pedal?
Yes, it's the starter on the gas pedal. You floor it and it starts. That's amazing. I even sent him a thing. Maybe Dallas knows something we don't about Buicks, man. I'm telling you.
They used to have some cool stuff, man. They were like cutting edge technology when it was cutting edge technology.
That's really good because I watched the in-car and
think about it. You got to press the gas for the accelerator pump fuel in it anyway.
Exactly.
That's what and push the gas to the floor, wait for it to start, and then let off the gas.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. I was like, that is awesome. And then he goes outside the car and he does the same thing. I'm like, that would be bitching, man. That would be
bitching. The sad part is people would steal your car all the time. No, I don't know if that's what would happen.
Yeah, well, the key still has to be on, Oh, and check this out. Clint saying, since Dylan mentioned it, I'll be by myself with no car this year. I would be happy to go for as many rides as I'm offered. Well, perfect. Oh, I actually have something to read to you guys here real quick. There's a guy coming down. His name is Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage.
Uh-huh.
And he hates Holly 1920s, right?
Uh-huh.
So I sent this to Just Mopar Joe. I said, verbatim, here it is right here, right? Okay, it says, could you do me a favor, please? Message Jamie at Dead Dodge Garage and send him this. If you could be so kind as to bring every and all Holly 1920 carburetors you have to No Name Nationals, please. They would like to continue to live, and I would do my best at rehoming them with new caretakers. The ones that are too far gone will be able to donate their parts so they can may have a chance at new life. Thank you. Then I wrote, I'm not sure if he'll understand my humor, but there it is.
Well, so, maybe you can find some of those Offenhauser intake manifolds and just start piecing those things together, because that thing's an oddity, right?
It is an oddity, but here's the thing: is that the Holley 1920 is a really kind of a magic carburetor. It works so well if it's tuned right. I think by me doing, I just put a video up of how it made the
I saw that.
accelerator pump. I made the accelerator pump work better. I'm telling you right now, changed the whole driving experience of the car. Before I had to kind of accelerate really fast to get past that because you had to put accelerator pump into it. Now every time you you step on the throttle, it's got a decent accelerator pump, and it never goes over like 14-1 ever when you're accelerating. If you accelerate really fast, it goes down to 12. It's like perfect. It's actually magical now. So it's like I cured a problem with that. So it actually works really good. But you will flood it. So you just do a quarter pump and start the car.
You know, I was thinking that you said that they don't make that Offenhauser intake manifold anymore, but I think they do. Offenhauser, if you have a part number for it, Offenhauser offers everything they've ever made still.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I called them up to try to buy one new, no dice.
Really?
Yeah,
their catalog is still like their 1961 catalog.
Exactly, and that's what I gave them when I called them up. I had just moved here, and that's what I was looking for, was one of those. And when I called them up and asked for one, they said, "No, sorry, man, we're not doing that one." And I was like, "Dude, it's in the catalog. I got a part number." And he says, "No, sorry." But I did get a brand new Offenhauser 4-barrel for a slant 6. They did offer that, but they didn't offer the 2-barrel one.
The two barrels. Yeah, that sucks.
No.
Ron Ward says, actually, I'm going to see if I can add 2 to 3 degrees initial of timing and replace my 50cc accelerator pump with a 30cc pump. Ooh, good luck. That sounds like she's going to be real weak trying to accelerate.
No, that's if you're doing it
Is he running a 440?
It'll be fine, because if the 50cc is like they're going to do the same amount of fuel as you accelerate from a start like this, right? The 50cc, it's just that when you step on the throttle,
a longer pump shot, right?
It's just going to keep going, right? With the 50cc, when you're still just going up and down like this, it doesn't matter because it's going to only have X amount. Where he's going to have an issue, and this is what I've noticed too, is that you're going to get a what's that?
You're right.
Yeah. Where you're going to get a problem is when you stop a carbureted car, you burn the fuel out of the carburetor. It just burns. You're going to boil some of it out. So that's why I always do my gas mileage when I go on a big, long drive somewhere, because if I'm just doing short bursts around town, if I drive somewhere and that's got those Holley 1920s has a decent bowl, when I stop, I've taken off the accelerator, the economizer, and I've burned, just boiled out half the fuel out of both bowls. So that's almost 3 miles right there, that you've already just burned away just by sitting there. So,
right.
So when he stops to get gas, and when you stop the car, that's when you start burning up the fuel. You know what I mean? Is just boiling it. Especially with all this ethanol that's in the fuel nowadays, it just literally evaporates.
Gustav Grass says my car probably won't make it this year, but I will be there.
Oh, good.
Dude, that sucks. Yeah, it sucks.
That does suck. Well, he had, like everyone, it was, a rough year. Like, I'm ready for this 2025 to end, and let's try 2026 is like a mulligan. Let's pretend the 26 is kind of like the new 25 or something. I don't know.
Well, hopefully 26 will be different, because I want to be at that Triple Crown with my Buick, and hopefully we have something a little bit broader where it would be cool if Bobby Frizzell could bring his Galaxy and fit in that thing, because he's running a big block, but he's also running a really big car. I would like to see I don't know. We'll see. Dr. Go says, saw your carb modification video. Describe my fall on your face or even stall condition I have had for years. Oh. So I guess maybe he might have fixed his stall.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a big thing. And if you see that little air fuel mixture thing that I've got, that will record it. So I have it for 12 seconds, so you can actually see it in detail, and it has an RPM gauge on there too. So as it's recording, and then you can actually add a few other things too. I put on the dashboard a vacuum gauge, so on the glass, so I can actually look at vacuum, and then here I can do that, and you'll see it go lean. It went to sometimes I would accelerate And the worst was in traffic, because you're literally kind of idling, and then when you're stepping on the throttle slowly, it would go to 23, starts coughing and coughing and coughing, and then finally catch up. And I would have to like kind of just coast and then step on the throttle really fast. But yeah, I'm telling you, that's exactly what it does. Just if you do
Well,
that, it'll cure it. Just give it a little bit more pump shot. Now, if it's a race car, you're going to have an issue because you're going to flood it, but you give it more pump shot when you're dealing with dual carbs, because just there's not much in there.
so Dust Devil Garage says it's not the car, it's me. I had a medical issue last weekend that kind of put me out on finishing up the car. That
Oh, that
sucks, dude.
sucks.
I'm sorry, man.
That sucks, man.
That's the worst. Well, I'm glad you're on the mend and you're on the upright. So I'll be happy to see either way.
Oh, here, Michael Schmidt says, Offie, they're going to the rare items like 30 to 40 manifolds at the time when the demand calls for it. So check with them periodically until the investment firm buys them out. Okay. Well, dude, I will keep checking with them, because I would.
Maybe you can put together like a GoFundMe or something where you could raise enough money to buy 30 or 40 of them at a time.
Dude, that would be awesome. I mean, literally, because I think on a slant six, it's the carburetor I've always wanted, because the manifold, because I think it cures 99% of the slant six's problems, that where you're lean on the outside and fat on the inside. Literally, you can look at the plugs and they're just screwed. This thing now runs dead even. All 6 plugs look the same, which is just amazing to me. And you can feel it. It would be a lot better if I had the Dulcer duals on it or headers, but even with the manifold, the log S manifold on it, it is very peppy for what it is, and it's
not only besides like peppiness, you would also see that one, the performance across the board would be better.
It is,
and generally when performance across the board is better, fuel economy is better,
and it is.
The other thing is the engine generally runs cooler. Right,
and it does. Yeah, everything you said is absolutely correct. And I'm almost thinking, before I had to kind of retard the timing, right? I was telling you today, it's got 15 degrees of initial. I revamped the distributor, so it's got 30 of centripetal, advance, and then 15 with the vacuum. So I got 45 total degrees. I think I might even try to bump that up 2 degrees, so that way I'll run 17 of initial and then 32 degrees. I'm going to try that and see if it knocks, if it pings. I don't know, because if I can get even to like the higher I can get the cruise down the road, the leaner I can pull it out, and that will actually get better mileage. And I'm thinking that because I'm in the 15-1 and I'm at 45 degrees with that bore and that stroke, it might be I might need more timing for it, but I can't because of that's all I've got right now.
Okay. Let's see. And then the Clint Street Machine says, I'm also hoping for a better 2026. I've had a pretty poopy 2025 too. I think 2026 is going to be the year, hopefully, for quite a few people. It's been pretty rough past few years for me. And I'm glad to see that, Big Block 402, he said, is my reset year. Got both knees replaced and we'll be ready for 2026. I think that's going to be the thing. I think 2025 is almost a wash for everybody. If you show up at No Name Nationals and just be there to cheer on your own team, right? So Michael Schmidt saying 2 No Name National events for 2026.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Clint was saying something about my polish.
Fingernail polish.
Yeah, that's a smashed fingernail. And I didn't even smash it. I smashed it way back here. And that was when I was putting the rear end gear in this thing. And I didn't even think it was going to turn black, but that was like 2 months ago, and it's still doing that. So where was that? I'm sorry.
Bobby Frizzell says the 47 Ford will be a good fit for the Triple Crown next year. Well, get it done, man. Hopefully we can get it over there.
I'm telling you, man, that's sounds awesome. Ron saying I'd rather be the hammer than the nail on the middle finger of Shane's right hand out. It honestly, it didn't even hurt that bad. It actually hurts worse now because that underneath there, it's got pressure underneath it, and it just sucks. It like thumps. You know what I mean?
So Dylan Levi said, "I'm ready for." I don't know what he's saying about Steven, but I guess to take that out, I'm ready for a Triple Crown car competing, and he's been kind of one of our biggest, I don't know, fans for this thing from the get go. I hope he gets the bug and comes out races with us. Maybe not in the Laguna, perhaps, but maybe it's something else that he can throw together for, it's Levi's backyard performance. Maybe you can backyard something together with some backyard ingenuity.
Yeah. See, Ron's saying he's currently running 18 degrees of initial with no pinging. I think I can get away with it, but remember, I have a really long rod and a really long stroke, so there's a lot of dwell up there, and the slant six usually doesn't like 30 degrees is usually about it at total timing, or 32. But if I can get my, and they like that 15 to 17 degrees. So I've got 15 degrees of advance in centrifugal right now. So I'll try 2 degrees. So I'll try to go to 17, and then hopefully, and then I have all mine in by 2200 is all my weights are. So when I'm going down the road at 2500 RPM, all the weights are out. It's got full advance, and then the vacuum advance comes in, and I have that timed up pretty good. So it's only at like 10 inches of vacuum. That thing's already starting to move and almost up there.
So right below that, Bruce Colton is saying, is there such thing as a standalone knock sensor? There is.
Absolutely. Yes.
GMs came with them years ago. And okay, so how a knock sensor works is not like what you would think. It has a crystal inside. It has a piezoelectric crystal. And when you start to detonate, that piezoelectric crystal it's actually just a transducer, is what it is, but it creates a voltage spike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That voltage spike, those GM knock sensors, like let's say from a TBI from like 1994, 1995, TBI Chevy truck, those things just screw in the water jackets of virtually any engine. You can just put them in there, and you can run an aftermarket knock sensor. They make a complete aftermarket standalone knock sensor controller. That's what you're looking for.
And they work great because you actually tell it what to look for. So you actually will make it knock. So that way you can say, oh, this is knock. And then it says, okay, I know. We use a standalone on our dynos. It's a Plex system. And you can literally put it on your headphones, and it's like sonar. It's like Dallas would be awesome with this because you literally can hear it, and there's a graph, and you're watching it, the frequency. And then as soon as it hears what it's saying, it just starts spiking up like this. It starts going like that. And then you hear it inside here. So it's actually really interesting. And it's very useful tool. I mean, that's between that wideband that I have, a vacuum gauge, and if I could get a knock sensor on there, you literally could make a carburetor run absolutely, literally perfect with that.
SSR Performance said, can we talk about converting a VRS to E85 yet? And did we ever find out about that welded governor?
Yes, we did find out about the welded governor. No one's got an answer for that except for because no one's ever done it. But here's the thing is that if you welded it up, it literally would hold the gear. It wouldn't shift. Even if you did a manual shift, it would be because it wouldn't select the gear. At least this is just what I've been told.
Well, but so here's my thoughts on that. Mm-hmm. It's got two different positions. Okay. If you welded it in the shut position where the weights were stuck in, I don't think it would shift any gear.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Now, if you welded the weights out, I think you could technically go through each gear, but I don't know what it's doing. I know it's dumping pressure. Yes. When the weights are out like that to allow it to shift, it's telling it to shift, right? Now, with the weights welded out, all it's doing is moving a spool valve inside that governor, okay? And it's directing fluid. I think with the weights out, what it's doing is it's dumping pressure down to the valve body, and I think it may work manual. But I would definitely try it on something you don't care about first. Exactly. Like Super Turbine 300, pull the governor out, welded the weights all the way out, run that sucker down the road, see if it manually shifts, because it should only manually shift if that's the case, because it should be telling it to shift all the time.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing is, but I don't know. No.
The reason I'm not a big fan of this, I'll tell you why. Those transmissions have been around since 1959.
Mm-hmm.
If
Exactly.
no one's figured that out
It's
since
not going to work.
1959, you got to think about it. That would have probably been one of the first things they tried to do.
Mhm. Like I was telling
But
Dallas,
I'd like to see it if it does
they
work.
make kits you can change springs on those, you can change weights, so that way you can change the timing of them. But it's got to have. Here's the thing: is this is what it was told to me: is when it's not open, that's what creates the pressure. So when it's not sprung out, it has pressure, and then when it opens, it dumps pressure, and that's what allows it to
You know what
shift.
I think is going to happen?
It's not going to
I
have any
think it'll
pressure.
manually shift once.
Yeah.
Well, like it'll go through all the gears once. I don't think it'll ever downshift once you get it into high gear.
Could
Because
be.
that spool valve, remember, it would close
It's right.
when the RPM decreases and would cause the transmission to downshift.
Exactly. Yep.
So I don't think it would downshift.
Yeah.
Because
So
it's as you're dumping the pressure, even if you put it in another gear, that it won't go into gear because it's dumping all the pressure. It's not telling you anything that it's at the RPM's low enough to go in that gear.
yeah.
But I don't know. It's something that's worth, if you're wanting to do it on something that you don't care about, and then see what happens. If you use like a Super Turbine 300, there are a dime a dozen people that give them to you all day long, and they're actually you can't do anything with them but stock stuff, really. And the ideal thing would be like, change the governor out, and if you have another one, you can just put another governor back in, and it'll work just fine.
On the knock sensor, Ron, here's the thing: is the way you explained to me, if you can hear knock, you're so far past the problem that it's actually causing problems. What the Plex system does is it picks up the beginning of knock that is like literally inaudible. You can't even hear it.
Inaudible, yeah.
It's just not. It's not even there. Literally, it's the beginning forms of it. So you can tune on the ragged edge just before knock. So like, even though you think that you've timed the knock out of it, you still won't be able to hear if you still have knock. Like I said, if you hear it, it's way past it. So this way you can tune literally up to that edge, and then find the edge, and then bring it back, and then start your power runs and see where does it want the power at.
I think that Plex is detecting the pressure wave before there is any sound, right?
That's
so
correct.
it like if you think about it, knock is you're hearing it, the explosion's already occurred and the piston's still coming up, right? But like if you're talking pre-detonation, right, it would just be the piston would be coming up and it might combust right as that TDC.
That's
right? So you don't hear anything at all. You just have an increase, pressure spike.
Yeah,
and that's where people use head gaskets.
Yeah, and then since the cast iron is so dense, it's going to travel through that at a high frequency, and you'll be able to hear that right off. And that's actually what you're trying to. That's the noise that you're trying to find. Is that?
Well, the high frequency. Here's something that you may or may not know. High frequency travels really short distances, right? And it loses its energy, so you don't normally see it past 3 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. But if it's through a solid object,
yeah,
right? When you change the media which it transfers, it can travel almost indefinitely.
It's exactly right. Yeah, that's why it works so well in salt waters, because it's the density of it, and it's got salt, and that literally will take that and travel forever almost.
Well, we had low frequency stuff where you could actually put low frequency sound in the water. Like, let's say you put it in the water in San Diego, you could pick it up in northern Japan.
Wow.
Right?
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was just acoustic sound.
Can we talk about converting the VRS to 85? No, cannot yet. I can't say anything about that until after.
Well, he's not asking about like, what you guys are doing at work.
Yeah.
He's asking about, can it be converted to E85? I don't think there is any jets or power valve or air bleeds to support that for the VRS.
All I'm going to say is I'm not saying a word about anything until after the Monday morning or the Friday. I think it's Monday or Tuesday before SEMA. That's when we release a press release. That's when I can talk about VRS and E85. I will tell this to all the viewers is that on the VRS, anyone who's running a VRS, I'm actually bringing our VRS tuning kit. So I have all the air bleeds, all the emulsions, everything. I'll be bringing it to No Name Nationals. So if you guys having something that you just want to see to correct or whatever, I'll have the parts to do that.
Dude, you know what would be awesome if Edelbrock like freaking supported the class with a VRS for that would be the VRS class, that would be cool.
Yeah.
All right. I'm done panhandling.
Andrew's here. So awesome. Are you
I'm
guys going to make it
surprised
to the
he's got
Noni
enough
Nationals?
ambition to get on the computer now after 9 days of thrashing on the 5-cylinder.
Right. So here's the question. Are you guys going to make it to No Name or not? I guess. Man, you know what? We got 5 minutes left, dude.
I know it's flown by tonight.
Yeah, just flown by.
Okay, well, we're at 5 minutes. FYI, tomorrow night, John Wilburn's going to be live with Deke for a Tech Talk Live. They had tried to do it. Excuse me. They had tried to do it months before.
Yep.
But they had some serious technical issues on Deke's end, so I think they got those sorted out. We're going to do this live on Thursday, which is tomorrow.
At 7.
At 7 o'clock?
7 p.m. I have a little note here. 7 p.m. Central on John Wilburn, the bringer of the No Name National. So go check him out. Deke's going to be there. Then he'll be answering all your tech needs. And we're going to be moving tech down just a little bit this year. So normally where it's been at, we're going to be basically about 30, 40 feet to the south from where we're at. It's still going to be right behind my car, but I'm going to try to get Deke out of the exact sun this year. So in the afternoon, where that big carport's at, I'll have a tent set up there. So that way you're going to pull your car under the tent just like before, but this way the sun won't be coming in from the angle. He'll have the shade of that carport. So that's literally where Tech's going to be at. Still going to be pretty much right in front of me and Dallas's pit. But I'm just moving my trailer over, and Dallas is going to park where I parked last year. So that way we can have that little area to help with Tech and help Deke
stay cool.
Stay cool. And in fact, I even told him, it's like, look, I got AC this year. You have any problems, just get in there, sit down, and then we'll just tell the people to hold on, because it's not going to be as hot as last year, but it's still going to be sunny and warm, but it's not going to be
Deke is no spring chicken, dude.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed. I mean, I've known Deke my whole life, and I'm about to be 50, and Deke was already working as an adult when I met him. So he's no spring chicken.
Yeah. So the Nelsons are saying they're not going to make it this year. Major family issues have changed all of our plans. I totally understand, man. Literally, I have, I'll just say it. I got to go to my dad's funeral literally Monday before the No Name Nationals. So I totally get it. That's why I'm just ready for 2025 to end. I'm ready for 2026 to come, and that's going to be our mulligan, literally our mulligan. So, yeah.
Let's see. Ron Wart's Mostly Old Parts says, I really want to see what that big bore short stroke 343 will do in a 3,000-pound car. Me too. Put it together, Ron, and I'll announce, and then you can run in the race.
Right.
I want to see what it'll do. Yeah. Michael Schmidt says, knock sensor, could I use this as a tool to maximize timing to just before a knock? Any merit to this as a tuning technique for old cars? Just a thought. Yes. 100% yes.
It really is a tuning. That's why they put them on all the cars, is because they want to put as much timing into these things as possible. So that way you can, especially at idle, they want them high there. They want them high everywhere. So that way they can produce as much cylinder pressure as possible. You know, that's the whole idea. That is the efficient burn of them.
Well, Michael Schmidt says, does the same car with a dynamic compression of 160 make more power than one with 125? That's kind of a loaded question.
Yes. It's too many variables, because the whole idea
right,
is
your camshaft is going to kind of what dictates your dynamic compression ratio, right? The numbers that you're talking about here.
Yeah.
You can take the same exact engine with the same camshaft in degree at 4 degrees advanced and 4 degrees retarded, and the numbers will swing just this far. And it may make more power at 4 degrees retarded. And that's because the camshaft profile, the overlap, the cylinder filling, all the stuff that goes along with it. Does it have headers? Does it have an intake? Does it have there's a lot of things that actually go into making that. So if all things equal, like from the factory, one has 160, one has 125, the cam is the same cam, it's in the same place, the one with 160 will make more low-end torque and generally more horsepower up to the same point. Now, the one with 125 will probably run on lower grade fuel.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting close to the end here. So once again, one more time, we're going to say it tomorrow. Deke, John Wilburn's channel at 7 p.m. Central. Go and check it out. And other than that, man, we're really going to try to do a live on Wednesday. If you see it pop up on Wednesday, that means we're doing it. But I'm not going to post one on Tuesday, but as long as we can get the reception and Dallas is there and we're all there together at the No Name Nationals, and we'll do a live, and there'll be a bunch of people there. So if you see it pop up, we're going to give it a go. So other than that, you got anything coming up? Anything going? Nothing?
No, I was just actually catching up on some of the comments here. Fabrice Mod Repeat says Dallas 100% probably won't downshift if he weld the weights out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if it would upshift correctly because it's going to dump so much pressure. That's so.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, it's 2 hours right now, and you guys, thanks again for coming in. Really appreciate it. And remember, once again, go see Buff and Kim on Tuesday night. Tony did a live for 3 days again, like Tony Hot Rod Garage, and go see Mr. John Wilburn tomorrow at 7 Central on his channel. So till then, you guys take it easy, and maybe we'll see you next week. So
all right, we're out of here.
Yeah, we're out. You guys have a good week.